Hello YouTube, and welcome back to the Advance Wars DS hard campaign playthrough with randomized skills and COs. Next up is Into the Woods, a Fog of War map that introduces us to a new black hole weapon. Hopefully it should hold your interest. You know, I've been kind of struggling to find a map that would hold my own interest up to this point. I guess Omens and Signs kind of kept me on my toes. And this one should probably keep me on my toes as well, but, you know, I'm just thinking of you guys when I complain about the level design being so boring. But anyways, we've got two teams to work with. One of them's got a mega tank. This is our first time actually controlling one, unless you bought one in a previous mission. Maybe that was possible. I didn't really check. And the other team consists of indirects, so let's hope Max doesn't get rolled on this one. So we've got to roll 4 COs. I guess we might as well get straight into it then. Waste no time. 23 again. I think that's a CO we've seen before. And it's kind of interesting that the COs that I've rolled the most are the Blandy ones. Andy, Cole, and Adder. Number 23 is Olaf. Alright, that's fine. You know, Olaf is good. You know, if we change the weather to snow, it's actually not going to disable the Fog of War because it's not rain that's causing it. Anyways, no penalties. And the levels are 2 3s, a 4, and a 5. So 2 3s. I'm actually going to take the skills that increase the tag CO's attack power. That should be interesting. I could probably like switch to the other one and then just use the boost from that to run over all the enemies. And there's a lot of forest, so let's take Ranger for the extra woods attack power. And, of course, it's Olaf, so we have to take... Well, actually, Icebreaker or Pathfinder would be good here. I'm going to take Pathfinder. You know, it would be nice to stack Olaf's snow bonus with another snow bonus, but I think I'm going to take the one that lets me move through the woods unhindered. Alright, so that's CO number 1 for Orange Star. Let's see who will be joining Olaf in this amazing map. 25 is the number I've rolled. Here's the D10. Just take that. 2 level 6 skills, a level 0, and a level 7. So who is 25? Hope it's somebody I haven't rolled before. Sammy again. Okay. Well, let's see. 2 6s, a 7, and a 0. So what is in number 6? Oh, the Vision Plus skills are in 6, and so are the Capture skills. Okay, so, you know, I guess I have to go with the obvious idea. Stack Sammy's Capture bonus with Conqueror, which will allow a full HP infantry to reduce a building's capture points all the way down to 3, I think. 15 plus 2. And Eagle Eye for the extra vision. So level 7... these aren't really useful because we don't have a base or any subs or anything, so I guess I'll just take the extra money. And 0... Well, what would be good during Victory March? I know, the extra movement will be good during Victory March, but I have to pick level 0, not 9. I guess I could take this and see what it does to the... Wait a minute. Okay, so this is gonna double the amount of vision I get with Sammy, and it's also going to double her capturing boost with that other skill. Wow, you could make it so that she captures buildings in an instant no matter what, as long as her HP is high enough. Yeah, obviously this is something the mod does, and is not something that is in vanilla Advance Wars DS. Still pretty cool, though. Now we need to roll for Blue Moon. Don't you just love picking the broken skills? Alright. Who's gonna play for Blue Moon? Ooh, very, very low roll. That's a 0, so I'll just get rid of that. Number 3. So, number 3 on this list... Oh, it's just Colin. Never mind. Yeah, I was so hyped up because the number was really, really low, but then it turns out to be Colin, who I'm probably just not going to use until it's time to come in with a power of money. Speaking of which, 2 3s, a 5, and a 9, but there have to be 2 penalties. So let's pick the penalties first. 2 3s, a 5. Let's see. 5 is full of weather penalties, and 3 has... What's over here on 3? Let me move the cursor. Bad luck. Less power meter. And Flakinator. That's still so very much funny. And less counterattack damage. Very interesting. Okay. This time around, I'm not going to metagame the penalties because I'm probably not going to use colon anyways. So, less counterattack damage and Flakinator. Just because I like the name of that skill still. And as for the boosts, those were both from level 3, so 5 and 9. Pathfinder and movement boost during the super. That'll be fun. Alright, so Commander number 2 for Blue Moon. Maybe we'll get Sasha. Number 12. That's a 9 on the D20 and 3 on the D10. So number 12. Number 12 is... Oh, this dice is actually off camera. You know. Number 12 is... Well... It had to happen eventually. Ladies and gentlemen, Flak is about to join the fray. For the second time, it seems. You know, I probably ruled Flak in a previous mission and then just did nothing with him. Because, like, why would you want to actively play as Flak when you've got 2 choices? Levels 1, 3, 6, and 7. Well, it's Flak, so he might as well use the Inflakinator skill. I have no idea what that's going to do to him. Maybe it'll stack everything. But this will be pretty wild, because he's on the team with all of the indirects. So, he's on the team with all the indirects, right? Take the Indirect Plus skill. And, 6 and 7. Extra vision for being able to spot the enemies, and 7 does absolutely nothing, so we'll just take the money. We can build up more money for the eventual Power of Money attack. Yes! So I definitely think Flak is going to take the lead, and should Sammy take the lead? No, I don't think Sammy should. No, Olaf's got to take the lead because Sammy has a direct fire penalty. Alright, so, and now it's time to write all of that onto the screen for you guys. That took several minutes to roll all of that. Now I have to spend even more writing it. Alright, boys, it's time to begin. Into the woods. And into the woods we will go. Okay, so starting with Olaf's turn. Yeah, it should be pretty obvious that there's something hiding in these woods, so let's get some vision going. Now we can very neatly slip into this first forest tile. Yeah, this is going to be annoying because we can't see into anything. Wish I had rolled Sonya, but even then, you would need her super, I suppose. There's not a lot of cities, so rolling Sammy was actually not that vital to winning this easily. But being able to move through the forest unhindered is a very good thing. And I suppose... Oh, there's a comm tower here and an airport here too. I did not notice those. So I guess we better get Sammy over there. And so everyone's just going to move forward. We definitely want to let the enemy come into view before we start shooting. Don't want to end up like Jake in that one Advance Wars comic. Totally flacked. When he got to this mission, his mega tank just ran straight into the new enemy unit. Alright. As for Flak... Let's see here. Again, we want to move forward. Oh, there's an enemy mega tank. That makes no sense. Mega tanks were built and invented by Green Earth, and we should, in theory, be the only ones with the schematics, but I suppose on hard mode they just throw any sort of narrative out the window. I think there's a map later on where the enemy has a, where they have an aircraft carrier and even a stealth. Or is that on normal mode? I actually can't really remember. Alright, so it's time to see what the enemy has up their sleeve. I'm debating on moving on to the next mission after this one straight away, because the next mission is such a freebie that, you know, I think it would be best to just play it and the mission after that one in the same video. That way I have Crystal Calamity all to myself for one video, and that's such a big mission that you definitely want, that I would definitely probably prefer to just dedicate an entire video to it. Alright, so that's annoying. Hurry up and die, Recon. Thank you. Alright, so far there isn't anything super lethal in view. Not quite seeing what they've got, but if you can hear the sound effects decently well, then you've probably noticed that there is a new sound effect among all of the unit moving sound effects. It's always nice to be able to hear the enemy units, even in even though you can't see them in Fog of War. Because that's nice and foreboding. It's actually very atmospheric. Especially when you hear a sound you've never heard before, which means a new unit, which means, oh boy, what do they got? Alright, time to set up our indirects behind a unit in a forest. Yeah, I'm just moving everybody forward. This is, at this point, I don't have a lot to really say quite yet. Not even really using the APC to transport anything. Not super helpful quite yet. The enemy does have comm towers, so if they do manage to get some attacks off, it'll be... Oh, is Kindle gonna use her power? No, she's not. But she should switch to Lash, I think, because I've been told by Xenesis that the enemy always tries to keep the CO with less charged power in front. So yes, they did in fact switch to Lash. If Kindle had actually used her power, she would have stayed out, which I think would have been more lethal. That's what happened in the mission with Javier. So this is the new unit, the Uzium, the worst named unit in history. I'm sorry. It moves one space every turn, however, it instantly KOs anything it touches, and it does not matter if it's a ground unit, an air unit, or even a sea unit. It's going down. So, you know, it's kind of a gimmicky puzzle unit. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's really annoying, in fact. So it's kind of a puzzle unit. It's not really something that you're kind of meant to actually use seriously in a multiplayer match, because if you, I'm just gonna go hog wild on these enemy units. If you try and, like, if you can put Uzium on a, wow, it actually survived? Wow. Did I have no idea how it survived that. It's a freaking mega tank. Anyways, moving on with my explanation. If you try and put a Uzium into a custom map, then you can actually use it in the multiplayer, but, like, you know, it's not really going to be any good. It's... Oh, there's actually a second Uzium, so it looks like I actually am going to lose my medium tank. Kind of unfortunate, but them's the breaks. Maybe it'll go for the 3 HP tank instead, you never know. Anyways, as you can imagine, they're not hard to deal with in multiplayer because you just gang them up with a bunch of infantry. Infantry are, for whatever reason, the big weakness of the Uzium. Like, it's not tanks, it's not copters, it's infantry for some reason. And I've charged up the enemy CO power, so it looks like we're gonna get a dual strike. Oh, the enemy is, anyways. That's kind of one of the annoying things about some of the campaign maps moving forward, is, like, they just get their, dual strikes very, very often because Like, they have such expensive units. The Uzium in particular actually charges power meters like crazy. So I'm just going to have to hold out here and hope that I do not get completely obliterated. Yeah, at the very least, Kindle can't use... Well, actually, this is going to make the Uzium move 2 times, isn't it? Like, Uzium are actually completely unaffected by CO powers no matter what you do. Enemy, ally, they can't be really powered up or boosted in any way. Maybe there will be a defensive boost, but I don't know for sure. But I still think they get the double move, which is going to be very, very annoying. So this first turn isn't going to be all that devastating, and hopefully the choke points are completely blocked, so they can't really move through that either. It depends on how much power Kindle gets out of this boost, if she's able to blow through that tank. And yes, you can see that the Uzium do in fact move 2 times, and I've overextended a little as well, so this is going to be actually a little bit devastating, but not that much. Blocking the choke point in that fashion with blue team up there, that was actually very effective, but red team got the worst of it. Because now they're facing a bunch of Uzium, and I've lost all of my anti-airs. But I do have... I'm just going to use this super straight away. Because it doesn't matter if I wait for Sammy's super for a tag break. So yes, as you can see, the Uzium were completely unaffected by Winter Fury there. Right, so it looks like what I have to do now is basically get an APC over to the HQ for a victory march. Also, Uzium are very, very resistant to indirect fire. Also very annoying. Right, so what do we do now? I can blow up this missile, that's something. Ah, so that's where the artillery was. Alright, so I've got to hope that... I'm going to switch to Sammy here and hope that she can get her mech over to the HQ before the enemy decides to blow it up. Blue team's really got to make up for what red team lost. Luckily, they have a missile, which is actually going to be useful here. And they have indirects for blowing up other stuff as well. You really want to keep these guys along the mountain range here, because that'll allow the indirects to fire at anything that's hurting. Wow, that was a lot of damage. Alright, so let's get these guys out of the way. Those tanks need some healing. I suppose I'll capture this, see if that's worth anything. And let's use an anti-air to block this forest. Yeah, this should be okay. And you've also got to keep in mind that whenever you move a unit and then cancel the move, it still uses up your fuel. So that's something you got to watch for as well. And that's especially devastating in snow because it doubles fuel costs, and it will even double that canceled move expenditure. Yeah, suffice to say, I like it better in Days of Ruin, where you do not spend any fuel unless you actually commit to the move. Right, so there's some more Uzium coming up. This time around, we're gonna stay out of their way. Like, you could just move past the Uzium, honestly. It's like they're never gonna catch up to you unless you run into, like, a large group of them at the same time. Alright, so we should be able to dart through those Uzium units somehow. And the enemy is actually being held at this choke point pretty effectively because they don't want to move in and get hit by all of the indirects. But they'll have to do something eventually, otherwise I'm going to make it to the HQ. Unless the APC runs out of fuel. Alright, so maybe Olaf was not the best CO to roll, because now he's going to lose all of his fuels. We could stop and capture a building in order to get some fuel back. But 35 fuel, I think I can make it up to the HQ. Oh, uh-oh, rocket. And, well, that rocket's trying to get fuel back, or HP back. Just not much Red can do, considering all of those units they lost. Because I'm not as good at this as I remember. But I do have to get the power meter up with Sammy, so... to figure out something eventually. Alright, let's see here. Use the rocket against that unit, and the Neo-Tank, and blow up the tank, and probably the Neo-Tank too. Good. Now I gotta hope that the Mega Tank decides to go straight into indirect range. So far the plan is working, but Kindle's out now, so, yeah, that rocket is a lot more devastating, but unfortunately, it's gone now. So if I get Victory March, the mech will be able to capture from here, so I'm gonna drop it right there. Now to try and fill the power meter. Gonna make a bit of a sacrificial play. I should be able to fill up the power meter by doing this, although I'm going to lose these 2 units and probably wreck my technique even further. There we go. Now all we have to do is survive the turn. This mech just has to survive the turn, and there's probably nothing that can threaten it. So that dual strike at the beginning was very devastating, and I kind of had to improvise. Like, I wasn't planning on doing a Victory March strategy, but after losing all of those units, it turned out to be the only thing I could really do to salvage this run of the map without restarting. So yeah, there we go. It's unfortunate that Colin did not get to demonstrate power of money. Oh, but he might, because they've got a dual strike now. I don't think they'll be smart enough to go after the mech because they don't perceive it as being able to capture anything. Because I've noticed this about the AI. If an infantry is within 5 spaces of the HQ, it just gets ignored completely. If it's within 3 spaces of the HQ, then they go after it because they see that it's able to maybe capture their HQ. And this dual strike isn't going to mean much, but it is going to do a little bit of damage. Right, so if you've got a movement boost with your superpower, the AI is not going to take that into consideration. So when I activate my super here, it should be curtains for the enemy. The classic Victory March, it never gets old. Yeah, I really don't think this ever gets old. So who knows what the rank is going to be, but that's Into the Woods. I think I am, based on how much time this took, I think I am in fact going to make this the only map that I play in this video. S rank, that's nice. So, the next map is going to be the other Uzium map, and then right after that is the Black Crystal map. So those will be covered in part, what are we on? Those will be covered in part 10, this is part 9, and then part 11 will be the big one. Crystal Calamity, the infamous mission. And until then, I'm Ephraim225, and I hope this has been entertaining to you guys. I don't know if it is anymore, but, you know, leave a comment, like this video, and subscribe, and all that jazz. Next time, we take on Muck, Amok. Such a freebie mission that I'm actually considering just running a grit solo. If you've seen this mission, you know why that would be a pain, so maybe let me know what you'd like me to do with that. See ya, everybody.